When you think of Sweden, you probably picture IKEA, meatballs, or ABBA. But behind that peaceful image lies one of Europe's most advanced arms industries. Sweden isn't just talking about supporting Ukraine. It's supplying the country with military aid and packages, including some of its most powerful weapons. From next-gen anti-air systems to precision vehicles, Sweden's technology is reshaping the war and forcing even Russia to take notice. In September 2025, Sweden unveiled a sweeping 9.2 billion Swedish kroner military aid package to Ukraine. Its 20th such package that's aimed at boosting Kyiv's capabilities across land, sea, and air. The package consists of 3 different categories. For one, Sweden is providing artillery and drones, with 18 Archer self-propelled howitzer systems, along with ammunition and long-range unmanned systems. Sweden is also providing naval and maritime assets, allocated for coastal surveillance radars, auxiliary vessels, crane trucks, and upgrades to CB-90 combat boats. The package also includes air defense and sensors, from munitions and command systems to sensors that enhance Sweden's Trident anti-aircraft systems, plus additional drone detection gear and airbase support systems. Sweden emphasized that much of the aid will come via newly manufactured materiel instead of depleting existing stockpiles. Looking ahead, Sweden has plans to scale its support further, as the government has proposed military aid frameworks of 40 billion Swedish kroner annually in 2026 and 2027, and it's budgeting an additional 70 billion Swedish kroner in military aid over the coming 2 years. The latest package shows how much Sweden wants to stand beside Ukraine as a defense partner, and Ukraine has been making use of its different weapons in the war against Russia. One of these is the Saab 340 AEW&C, also known in Swedish service as the ASC 890 or S100B Argus. It's a turboprop aircraft that's modified for airborne early warning and control (AEW&C). The aircraft is fitted with the AREI radar system, an active electronically scanned array radar that's mounted in a fixed balance beam, fairing above the fuselage. The Argus is pretty impressive, with a range of up to about 300 to 400 kilometers for tracking aircraft, cruise missiles, and sea vessels. Sweden sent 2 of these aircraft to Ukraine as part of one of its major aid packages. Ukraine conducted test flights on one of these aircraft over the Lviv region. These missions mark a major milestone in Ukraine's air surveillance and command and control capabilities, especially under Western standard systems. With the Argus, Ukraine has a higher ability to detect Russian aircraft, drones, and cruise missiles at greater ranges. This has also provided early warning and precision targeting capabilities. In fact, one of the Argus aircraft detected a Russian Su-35 about 200 to 300 kilometers away, inside or near Russian airspace, and then relayed the target information to a Ukrainian F-16. The F-16 uses an AIM-120 AMRAAM missile to shoot down the Su-35, giving Ukraine an edge over Russia in the war. Sweden has also provided Ukraine with around 50 CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles, specifically the CV-9040C variant equipped with a 40mm autocannon, as part of its military support. These vehicles are tracked, well-protected, and include modular armor capable of withstanding small arms fire and certain artillery threats. In active frontline combat, the CV-90s have shown strong performance. Their 40mm main gun has proven lethal against enemy targets. They also bring capabilities in night operations and improve sensors, making them effective in different combat conditions. In fact, despite the battle damage to at least 3 of the vehicles, no Ukrainian crew members on the IFVs have been killed in those incidents. Aside from the battlefield, Sweden has trained Ukrainian crews on the operation and maintenance of the CV-90s so that they can use them effectively. In recent news, Sweden and Denmark have contracted new CV-90s, including 40 additional units for Ukraine, and are increasing production to sustain the support. Sweden is also developing the Archer, which has been pretty effective in Ukraine's counter-battery warfare. It's a wheeled, 155mm self-propelled howitzer developed in Sweden with high mobility, automation, and rapid response. Its capabilities are impressive, with a magazine of 21 shells, automatic loading, a very high rate of fire, and the ability to shoot multiple rounds that can arrive simultaneously on target. This makes it lethal for enemy artillery. The shoot and scoot trait, firing and quickly relocating to avoid counter-battery fire, makes it survive on the battlefield. Sweden has already transferred 8 units to Ukraine in 2023, and another 18 units have been authorized for procurement and donation, constituting part of its military support packages. It also allocated 1.5 billion Swedish kroner for over 10 new barrels for existing Archers, logistic support, long-range strike systems, and ammunition. The Archer units have no confirmed full losses so far in Ukraine and only one recorded damage, signaling high survivability. Ukraine crews have said that the Archer system works well under counterfire conditions, using its mobility and speed to stay alive. Aside from in the air, Ukraine is also boosting its capabilities in the waters with Sweden's Combat Boat 90. Commonly known as the CB-90, it has become a critical asset for Ukraine's naval and riverine warfare since the start of its deployment. It's designed for speed, shallow water operation, and agility, transforming Ukraine's project's power across rivers, coasts, and in amphibious operations. The CB-90 has impressive capabilities with twin diesel engines and water jet propulsion. It can reach up to 40 knots, stop sharply, maneuver in shallow waters, and rapidly insert special forces or perform raids. In light, the aluminum hull and shallow draft allow operations close to shorelines or in rivers where larger vessels cannot go. From 2024 into early 2025, Sweden has delivered dozens of CB-90 boats to Ukraine. They first sent 10 boats in February 2024, and then another 16 units in 2025, expanding Ukraine's fleet. Ukraine has used these boats for reconnaissance, high-risk patrols, amphibious landings, logistical runs, and surprise raids in places near Crimea and Snake Island. The CB-90s bring Ukraine enhanced flexibility and mobility in maritime theaters that have been difficult to hold. Their design allows them to operate where larger warships cannot, giving Ukraine some advantages. Sweden is also supplying Carl Gustaf, an M4 variant, AT4, and other similar man-portable anti-armor systems to Ukraine. All of these have played an important role in Ukraine's infantry operations, especially in close quarters, urban combat, and ambush scenarios. These weapons give small units the ability to threaten armored vehicles, fortified positions, and light fortifications without needing heavy support. The Carl Gustaf M4 is a reusable, multi-role recoilless rifle that can fire different ammunition styles, including high-explosive anti-tank, dual-purpose, and anti-structure rounds. It also supports versatile deployment like engaging moving or stationary vehicles, hitting bunkers, or providing fire support in built-up terrain. The AT4 is also a good option, a single-shot disposable anti-armor launcher that's also in the 84mm class. While it's less reusable, its straightforward operation, rugged design, and lighter logistics burden make it well-suited for fast hit-and-run engagements. It's effective against lightly armored vehicles and defensive structures and serves well in urban settings. Sweden has already established framework agreements to supply these rifles and launchers, and their ammunition, to ensure a steady flow and support for Ukraine. The country is also reinforcing Ukraine's air defense capabilities, donating RBS-70 and Trident Mk 2, worth about 1.2 billion Swedish kroner. The RBS-70 is a man-portable, laser-guided surface-to-air missile system produced by Saab. It's different from the heat-seeking weapon. Instead of infrared guidance, the missile is steered along a laser beam. This makes it more resistant to countermeasures such as flares and interference. It can engage aircraft, helicopters, cruise missiles, and drones at effective ranges of several kilometers, and it's already being used by Ukrainian soldiers. As for the Trident Mk2, it's a newer Swedish air defense gun system that's built around a 40mm autocannon. It's mounted on mobile platforms with remote control, sensor integration, and modern sighting equipment. It's designed to counter low-flying threats like drones, helicopters, aircraft, and some incoming cruise missiles. As Sweden supplies a lot of weapons to Ukraine, Kyiv is gaining a major edge against Russia in the war. But not all the weapons supplied by Sweden performed as well as they expected. Some of them ended up failing Sweden's good intentions. One of these is the Estrov 122, which has encountered serious challenges. Despite its reputation, it didn't perform well. Sweden sent 10 Estrov 122s to Ukraine in early 2024. By mid-2025, open-source trackers suggest that 9 out of the 10 weapons have been either destroyed, damaged, or abandoned. Many of the losses have been due to anti-tank missiles, mines, drone attacks, or because the tanks were immobilized and later abandoned. 2 of these Estrov 122s were hit by Lancet drones in the Svatovo-Kremenska front, damaging them significantly. Another common issue is the exposure of these tanks when they are moved or positioned poorly, making them vulnerable. As for the PBV-302, older tracked Swedish APCS, there is widespread commentary and visuals showing their vulnerability. Despite this, Sweden continues to supply weapons to Ukraine. In recent news, Sweden is now open to the possibility of providing its Saab JAS-39 Gripen fighter jets to Ukraine. Stockholm is calling this transfer a long-term endeavor, likely only feasible once certain preconditions are met. Ukraine is now focused on adopting and integrating F-16 fighter jets as part of a coalition of Western partners. Sweden and Ukraine have agreed that managing the F-16 and Gripen systems presents logistical, training, and maintenance challenges. That's why Sweden has already included spare parts and material components for Gripen within its military support to Ukraine. This is laying the groundwork for their future donations. Sweden has also committed to a 70 billion Swedish kroner framework of military aid to Ukraine over the period of 2026 to 2027. This is after their previous commitment, as between 2024 and 2026, they agreed to provide SEK 75 billion in military assistance spread across arms, equipment, and financial contributions. Sweden has also joined forces with Norway and Denmark in August 2025 to commit nearly $500 million to a NATO-led program that buys U.S. defense hardware for Ukraine. Under this initiative, the trio is planning to fund Patriot missile systems, air defense gear, anti-tank weapons, and more. Sweden's share of the donations is $275 million. Aside from supporting Ukraine, Sweden is also improving its own military. It's accelerating efforts to counter the increasing threat of small, low-cost unmanned aerial systems, or drones as you might know them, by deploying new systems, updating doctrine, and procuring cutting-edge technology. One of their key projects is the Loke counter-drone system, developed by Saab in collaboration with the Swedish Defense Materiel Administration and Air Force. Loke uses the Giraffe 1X radar, track-fire remote weapon station, and electronic warfare elements to detect, classify, and neutralize small hostile drones. In addition, Sweden is acquiring Pioran man-pads from Poland under a €274 million deal. This gives infantry units rapid response capability against drones, helicopters, and low-flying aircraft, especially useful in forward or exposed positions. Sweden is standing out as one of Ukraine's biggest supporters, sending weapons to Kyiv to support their fight against Russia. Do you think Sweden's support is making a difference in the war? Let's know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on global military events.